The vases on right there were in Annie Ray's house. They always sat on the mantle in the family room. It was from Annie Ray's house, and it was just always in the china cabinet. We put flowers in it once in a while. The little dish with the handle, we use that when we'd go over for Sunday dinners and have jelly in it. Well, I think we did it more at Auntie Ray's.
Okay.
See, I can't really remember what we took from grandmother's over there, what mother and dad took over there. Now, that next vase, Oscar Fiddle gave that to me. And I think it has kind of a marble or something in the stem of it. I don't know if you can see it or not. But it was unusual in that respect. This one and this one, they just were pretty pieces that my mother liked. And they belonged to Auntie and Uncle Ray or my grandmother, and I'm not sure which, but they sat on the table. This is my great-grandmother's, on my father's side, a golden wedding present. And this was my great-grandmother's first teaspoon on my dad. This is on my dad's side. All right, these three pieces were my grandmother's mother's golden wedding cup and saucer and plate. That'd be my dad's grandmother. And this little cutlass dish, we just used that for jelly, or when mother had a party, she'd put nuts in it or something. Okay, this is a picture that I think belonged to Auntie Ray. And I'm not sure that this is really old, very old. I'm not sure where I got that.
Did somebody give that to you?
I think somebody probably did. But that one is old. That was,
This one?
it belonged to either my grandmother or Auntie or Uncle Ray. And this belonged to them also. These are pieces that were always in the china cabinet at Auntie Ray's. They just had belonged to her family, to her. And that was mine.
The silver tray?
Yeah,
Oh, the big tray?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's not old. Well, I mean, it's old. not as old. And this is, we use that. Mother would put a liner in it and put dressing or something in it. But we used it for Sunday dinners. That was a wedding present to me, to Bob and me. I don't know why they put a T on it, but it was.
Yeah.
Those are all were always in the china cabinet at either Auntie Ray's or grandmother's. This, I remember when I was still a kid in school, I'm not sure how old, I came home from school and Mother had a surprise party, and see, that has red on it. My birthday was Valentine's, and I definitely remember she used that. And I'm not sure what all we had to eat. She had planned a surprise party, and she'd used the nice dishes, and I especially remember that one. These were always at my grandmother's Tuggles, and I always thought they were pretty, but I don't remember using them ever. Well, I guess you call it a berry bowl. But you could put, berries and then spoon them out into, just like we cut up fruit now, and then spoon it out into the kind of sherbet-like dishes.
Okay.
Now, I think those could have been Grandmother Tuggles. They both had similar things. I don't know, but I've always thought it was sweet.
Okay.
Mother or Auntie Ray or probably hand painted this. I think that was popular at one time.
Okay. 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 Okay.
And I'll turn it if you want.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's small. Oh, 54, I think. Okay.
It was from Auntie Ray or Grandmother. I'm not sure which. And there was a green one. What is that green one? That was flatter and fluted, and I know right where it sat, always. But I think that sat up in a bedroom at Auntie Ray's. It sat in the basement at my grandmother Tuggles for years, and she had put hot jars of food that she had canned in, and it made circles, bird circles in the top. And Bob was always, one day he said, I'm gonna take this to the dump. It looks awful, and we'll never use it. And we decided not to take it to the dump for some reason. So we refinished it. And I love it. But it was a washstand. It's the room where the Cub Scouts
I was
met.
going to say, it's the room where the Cub Scouts met.
It's a pillow top that both of my grandmother's names are on it. All right, this is Auntie Ray's, Mrs. A.T. Ray. Okay, yeah, right there.
That's quite a
And
piece.
They made that, those are all the members of the Coleman Embroidery Club. I think those were my mother's dolls. I found them when I went through Mother's drawers that she had. Some of them had things in. And I had them dressed. One of them, the arm was off and they had to have some repair work done. But I thought they were really sweet and old. These were little tea sets that Virginia and I had when we were kids, and I kind of think that was her, Virginia's. Now, these things Bob brought back from Japan. He had a chance to go into Tokyo at the end of World War II, and there wasn't much he could get, but he did get those little dishes. And they had little spoons.
They're in there.
Yeah,
They're tiny.
yeah, they are.
What are they made out of?
I don't know.
Is that from there?
I think he brought those back from Japan.
Uh-huh.
And I think that Virginia and I had those when we were little and played with them. Things my mother had in her kitchen when Margaret and Janet and Dick were growing up, when they were kids. And they would get these things down and play with them when we went over to visit my mother. So she let them play with those.
Simpson Hall Miller and Company, quadruple plate, 2095.
The grandfather clock belonged to my grandmother Tuggle, and she bought it just because she liked it, but we had it when Margaret, Janet, and Dick were little, and they rode their tricycles around a circle of doors and went right past the clock all the time. It's a wonder it wasn't all scratched up. But, and then Bob and I had it completely redone. The works taken out. The man who did it, he had to make some parts for it, and he had it for probably 9 months working on it. But he said it was more valuable than grandfather clocks you could buy today. That it was because it was old and it was made well. And well, we had it done when we lived in Gallatin, and probably it's been 15 years ago, at least. And a man in St. Joe did it. He came and took it all apart.
And when do you wind it?
I winded it on Tuesdays. That's trash day. That's how we remember to wind it.
Okay.
Bob always took care of the clock. That was his job. He wound it. It was up to him to remember to do it. That vase is a gift from the PEO chapter that I belong to in Gallatin.
And when did they give it to you, Mom?
When I got married. When we got married. These are from Bob's mother and dad, and it's about the only thing we have from them. I don't know where all the other things went, but
Okay.
you know, I think this was on my wedding cake.
Really?
Well,
Wow.
where else would I have gotten it?
I don't know.
Well, I think that's where it was from. All the plates were hers except that one, and that goes to my set of dishes.
Hold that still for me.
And this was my grandmother Tuggle's, and it just sat on a dresser. We'd always go to Mother and Dad's after church when you all were little. And these are the vegetable bowls Mother used. So I can remember a lot of good cinnamon candied apples in those. She'd have them on Sunday. This was my half-brother's. I think this was James. It's old. That was from my grandmother's, or Auntie Ray's, one or the other. That always was in the china cabinet at Auntie Ray's or grandmother's, and I'm not sure which. That was grandmother's. And you know, my grandmother had tons of flowers.
Was that Grandmother Tuggle?
Uh-huh. And there were always flowers for those.
What about this?
That's just a candy jar.
There's beautiful little flowers in it.
Uh-huh. And see, there's one down below.
Oh, this one? Yeah, there's another one.
We use those on Sunday to put jelly in when we'd go over for Sunday dinner. We use that to put nuts in when Mother had parties. Well, that's the ones that were a wedding gift. I thought that's what you were pointing to. Was from Bob's family.
Okay, so from Dad's family, it was the cake stand
Uh-huh.
and then
And
the
the
salt and pepper shakers. Okay.
One of the PEOs, the day of the garage sale, and it was at her house, went in and got that. And her mother had painted it, and she said, I want you to have it, and I want you to take it home and use it. And a hen, which was not like a roast chicken, it was good. It was really fat, and we'd have that, and mashed potatoes, and gravy, and
Everything low in cholesterol.
oh my gosh. Those are all plates that belonged to my grandmother and Uncle Ray. And, you know, we used them for salad. And we used them. I remember using that at Grandmother Toggle's. And a lot of times we had grape jelly in that. And my mother usually had made the grape jelly.
Oxford, Oxford.
There was Maud Oxford and Maud something else.
Okay, so
I always took her to PEO.
Maud Oxford painted all these in 1906. So there's a set of 8, and everyone's different.
And she evidently gave those to Annie Ray, her grandmother, or some age. I think an awful lot of people had that when Mother and Dad were, I don't know if they were wedding presents, but they had them, and a lot of people had them. And so I thought they were really pretty, and I had a lot of them, so I bought some more just like them at sales, at auctions, so all of you kids could have a set of a dozen if you wanted them. And I think Joyce and Dick took a set, and Janet has a set, and that's yours in there. And then,
Well, I always wondered how somebody had a set of 36, so
Well-
it didn't all happen at once.
no, I bought some. Now, Grandmother had them, and Annie Ray had them, so we had a lot anyway. And then I bought some at auctions because I didn't want to give just one of you a set. At the time, Havlin was really the big thing.